Part 128. Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanbao. Chapter 1271. Of course, this is just a legend. Whether it is true or not can only be judged after seeing Yinlong Mountain. Ever since Lu Bowen cut off all the dragon veins in the world, there are only a few existing dragon veins in China. Kunlun Mountain, Qinbei Mountain, and Qinling Mountains are also known as these three dragon veins. The car can only drive halfway. If you want to reach Yinlong Mountain, you can only walk the rest of the way. After I got off the bus, I walked along the path towards Yinlong Mountain. This trip to Daemen must be a narrow escape, but I must go. Because Grandpa Zhong is my savior. If he hadn't gone with my grandfather to help me regain my senses and limbs when I was born, then I would have died. In order to repay this kindness, I will try my best even if there are mountains of swords and seas of fire ahead. Also, it is impossible for Xiangyi and the others to just sit back and watch. This is the tacit understanding that he and I have had for a long time. Daemen made it clear that I should go alone. Xiangyi will definitely come to help me in his own way. After walking along the mountain path for an unknown amount of time, I saw a majestic and magnificent mountain range. Under the moonlight, this mountain range is winding and tall, dangerous and elegant, surrounded by mountains and rivers. It is indeed a dragon vein. As for the specific direction in which the Taoist Gate is located in Yinlong Mountain, I don't know. At this moment, a figure suddenly flashed across the surrounding woods, and I instantly became alert. Suddenly, a cold voice without any emotion came from his ears. "This way, please." I looked for the sound and saw a boy tied with paper standing under the moonlight. A guide boy. It seems that those guys from the Taoist sect are responsible. The guiding boy turned around and led the way. I followed him and walked towards the depths of Yinlong Mountain. While walking, a thick white mist suddenly rose from the surrounding woods, with visibility less than 2 meters. I was slightly surprised. I didn't expect that this door was actually protected by a fog barrier. Without the guide boy, I would have had a hard time finding this place. After walking for about 10 minutes, the fog barrier gradually dissipated. I saw a huge Taoist temple among the high mountains of Yinlong Mountain. The bright moon hung high, and the cold moonlight poured down, shining continuously on the Taoist temple, covering the roof with a layer of silver. The Taoist temple is located on the mountainside with thick mountains. The magnificent temple is antique, solemn, and looks to have been around for a long time. If you hadn't seen it with your own eyes, it would be hard to believe that there is such a magnificent Taoist temple in the mountains. Soon, I came to the Taoist temple. There is a plaque above the main entrance of the Taoist temple with 3 big characters Tianyimen written on it. Tianyimen. After seeing these 3 words, I already knew the specific origin of Taoism. During the period of Emperor Shun of the Eastern Han Dynasty, Zhang Daoling founded the 5-Do rice cult in Heming Mountain, Shu County. 3 Kingdoms records that anyone who enters the Tao must give 5 measures of rice, hence the name. Because of this, it is also called rice witch, rice thief and rice way. Because believers respect Zhang Daoling as the celestial master, it is also called Celestial Master Tao. The 5-Do rice sect is a well-known and upright sect with countless talented people and strangers, but where there is light, there is darkness. This Tianyi alliance is the dark side of the 5-Do rice sect. It was formed by some heretical magicians who later broke away from the 5-Do rice sect. I walked into it, and there was no one in the yard. It was so quiet that it made me feel panicked. At this moment, the boy who led the way suddenly set himself on fire, and the raging fire swallowed him up. At the same time, the door of the house directly in front suddenly opened, and a figure sat above the main hall. Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanbao. Chapter 1272. Cough cough cough. There were bouts of light coughing in the air. The coughing sound is intermittent and sometimes disappears. The figure sitting in the main hall slowly stood up and walked from the darkness into the moonlight. He was wearing a blue gown, with pale skin, sunken eyes, grey eyes, and listless spirit. At first glance, he looked like a corpse crawling out of a graveyard. The head of the Taoist section. When he appeared, other people from the Taoist sect also came out of the darkness and surrounded me heavily. The members of the Taoist sect were all wearing black robes. They were old and young. Their eyes were full of viciousness and resentment when they looked at me. Their eyes wanted to eat me alive. My grandfather had a grudge against these people, and now that my grandfather is gone, they will naturally target me. Ahem. The leader of the Taoist sect covered his chest and began to cough violently. I doubted that he would cough out his lungs. He said nothing, and neither did anyone else. "Lu Su, long time no see," the Taoist leader said to me. I looked at him coldly and asked, "Where are my sister and Grandpa Zhong?" The head of the Taoist sect raised his lips slightly and said with a smile, "Your sister and Zhong Zhengling are very good with us. Come in and I will take you to see them later. I don't know what this old guy is up to. No matter what his plans are, I must rescue Huashiu and Grandpa Zhong today. Moreover, Daemon will have to pay a heavy price." I entered the main hall, where a statue of Master Zhang was enshrined. I couldn't help but sneer in my heart. How could the evil sect worship the statue of Master Zhang? It's really ridiculous. The head of the Taoist sect motioned for me to sit down. I sat across from him, and he also took a seat. He looked at me with a smile and said, "Lu Su, I really didn't expect that you would actually dare to come here alone." I was too lazy to talk nonsense with him, so I said calmly, "Stop talking nonsense, let my sister and Grandpa Zhong go, or else." I didn't say anything further. Facing my threat, the Taoist leader seemed to have heard a big joke. "Lu Su, during this time, you have not only grown up, but your tone has also become louder. If you want me to let your sister and Zhong Zhengling go, you have to promise me something." "What's the matter?" The Taoist leader looked me up and down, with greed in his eyes, and said, "Give me your body." After listening, I instantly understood why he asked me to come here. The leader of the Taoist sect probably only has a few days left to live. He plans to take away my body and continue to live in this world. I raised a sneer at the corner of my mouth and said, "What if I don't agree?" The Taoist leader laughed and said with great disdain, "If you don't agree, not only will you not be able to save your sister and Zhong Zhengling, you will also die here. As long as you promise me, I can naturally let your sister and Zhong Zhengling go." I took a deep breath and said, "Then let me see them first. I must see Huashiu and Grandpa Zhong now to ensure their safety." The leader of the Taoist sect stood up slowly and said, "Okay." Later, the head of the Taoist sect ordered Huashiu and Grandpa Zhong to be brought up. When I saw Huashiu and Grandpa Zhong, I was stunned on the spot, and fierce anger burned in my heart. Huashiu was tied up with a corpse rope, her hair was messy, her face was pale, and her body was covered with shocking scars. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanbao. Chapter 1273. Grandpa Zhong looks the same as before, but he is in a coma. I walked towards Huashiu step by step. I felt it was difficult to breathe and my body was shaking uncontrollably. "Huashiu!" I called softly. When Huashiu heard my call, her long eyelashes trembled slightly. She slowly raised her head, her eyes were lifeless, but after seeing me, a bright light appeared in her eyes. "Emperor, brother Emperor, you are here." She forced a smile at me. This smile is like a knife, stabbing into my heart, stirring constantly. I stretched out my hand tremblingly and gently touched Huashiu's face. She was like a bright flower that fell into the mud. Her former beauty had disappeared without a trace, leaving only the petals knocked off by the mud. It's hard for me to imagine what she went through during this time. Hwashiu, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. I apologized profusely, with red eyes and heartache. Hwashiu wanted to stretch out her hands to comfort me, but her hands were bound by the ropes and she couldn't do it at all. Brother Emperor, please don't apologize. This has nothing to do with you. It's Hwashiu, it was Hwashiu who accidentally let them arrest her and made you worry, Brother Emperor. I know that Hwashiu said this to prevent me from feeling guilty. I grabbed Hwashiu's shoulders and said in a trembling voice, it's my brother's fault. It's my brother's fault. If I could come back earlier, you wouldn't have to suffer like this. Hwashiu's lips trembled slightly, and her eyes were full of grievances. Despite this, Hwashiu suppressed her emotions and said to me, it's okay, Hwashiu is okay. As a princess of a country, had she ever suffered such humiliation? She must feel aggrieved. It's like a person wandering outside. No matter how many grievances and hardships you suffer, you will pretend to be strong, but in front of your family, you only want to be comforted and vent. Hwashiu. I am your brother. Your royal brother. Cry if you want. As soon as these words came out, Hwashiu's suppressed emotions completely exploded, and huge tears fell from the corners of her eyes. She burst out crying. Brother Royal. I gently held her in my arms, patted her back gently, and said, it's okay, my brother is here, my brother is here. The leader of the Taoist sect stepped forward and said, you have also seen it, is it time to fulfill your promise now? I whispered in Hwashiu's ear, stop crying, I will vent my anger on you. Hwashiu choked and said, okay. With that said, I stood up and looked at the Taoist leader coldly. When did I promise you? The head of the Taoist sect seemed to have expected that I would say this. He just looked at me with a playful look in his eyes and said, Lu Su, I think you are just toasting instead of eating and being punished with wine. In this case, don't blame me for being rude. I flipped my right hand, and Jingxiao was held in my hand. I opened the Nine Eyes heavenly domain and disappeared in an instant. When he appeared again, he was already beside the Taoist leader. The anger in my heart has reached its peak. Today, even if I die, I will make the Tao sect disappear from this world. I raised Jingxiao in my hand high and slashed at the Taoist leader with a sword. At this moment, a terrifying yin qi erupted from the Dao sect leader. A pale ghost hand grew out of the Taoist leader's shoulder. Just hearing a sonorous sound, the ghost hand grasped Jingxiao. The next moment, a fierce ghost emerged from the head of the Taoist sect. This fierce ghost had at least 100 years of experience, and it forced me back. All the Dao disciples around me swarmed up and surrounded me heavily. The Taoist leader said calmly, kill him. Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanbao. Chapter 1274. People from the Taoist sect are all hereditary. I have seen these heretical techniques before in the Sky Coffin. However, the heresy in the Sky Coffin and the heresy performed by the Taoist people in front of them are completely adults and children. I have a murderous intention, so there is no need to show mercy. Today, I will destroy the entire Taoist sect to vent my anger on Hwashiu. Thinking of this, I took a step forward. The yin-yang double dragon diagram centers on me, and then spreads out in all directions at an extremely fast speed. The yin and yang Pisces diagram rotates under my feet. The yin and yang double fish diagram is the yin and yang Pisces diagram. The yin and yang Pisces diagram is known as the number 1 divine diagram in the world and contains the secret of the growth of all things. The reason why I can turn into a double dragon picture is because of the purple energy in my body. If I put the purple energy into the picture, I can turn the yin and yang Pisces into the yin and yang double dragon. Before the Taoist people could figure out what was going on, the yin and yang twin dragons jumped up from the picture. This is it. Yin-yang twin dragons. I don't know who shouted in the crowd. The Taoist disciples began to use their methods to deal with the yin and yang twin dragons. Wherever the twin dragons passed, there were countless casualties. There were about 500 to 600 people in the entire Taoist sect, but there were also masters. After a brief shock, those masters began to think of ways to break the yin and yang double dragon diagram. The Daemon elder paused when he heard the movement behind him and looked back. His pupils trembled slightly and he said to me, "Lu Su, I can't believe it. You can master the yin and yang double dragon diagram." I looked at the Taoist elder coldly and said, "If you hurt my relatives, I want your entire Taoist sect to be buried with you." I waved my hand casually, and a piece of heavenly secret appeared in front of me. This heavenly secret is the golden light killing slash. I unfolded the golden light killing slash, and a huge golden magic circle appeared from directly above the Taoist gate, covering the entire Taoist gate. "Boy! How dare you!" The Taoist elder sensed the danger and shouted sharply at me. I ignored him and directly activated the golden light killing array. Countless golden lights gathered in the air, densely packed, like countless golden swords, suspended in mid-air. I have no reason to pity these guys anymore. Indiscriminate killing is what I need to do this time. I raised the Jingxiao in my hand high, and then suddenly dropped it. At the same time, the golden sword floating in the night sky also fell down. All of a sudden, the whole world was shrouded in golden light, like a golden rain of arrows. The sound of howling resounded in my ears. Some Taoist disciples with low cultivation levels were killed instantly. As for those with high cultivation levels, they are thinking of ways to deal with it. The Taoist leader's eyes were full of murderous intent, and he rushed towards me at an extremely fast speed. It's hard to imagine that with his physical condition he could be so fast. His speed cannot be caught by the naked eye, it is simply extremely fast. Suddenly, the wind roared in my ears. I turned around suddenly and saw that the Taoist leader had appeared on my right side. I was about to block him, but the Taoist elder slapped me with his palm. This palm hit my chest directly. For a moment, I felt my blood surge, and a mouthful of blood spurted out instantly. The power of the yin-yang double dragon diagram and the golden light killing and killing formation also decreased a bit because of my injury. "Lu Su, if you only have this little strength, then just suffer death. After you die, I will take away your body and continue to live in your skin." Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanbao. Chapter 1275. The leader of the Dao sect is very powerful. His strength is comparable to Zhang Yuqiang. Zhang Yuqiang is not weak, but his body was destroyed by Su Tianqian and I working together. If we fight alone, I am not Zhang Yuqiang's opponent. I looked at the Taoist leader and said coldly, "If you have the ability, then come and do it." I untied 2 meridians, and the raging dragon energy spread in my body. The head of the Taoist sect instantly felt the change in my momentum. "Lu Su, more than 10 years ago, your grandfather killed 2/3 of my Taoist disciples. Today, you have hurt countless more of my Taoist disciples. Only by killing you can I relieve the hatred in my heart." The Taoist sect is the Tianyi alliance, which has been passed down for thousands of years. If it was a famous and upright sect, it would have already reached the heights of Longhu Mountain and Mission Mountain. But this does not mean that Taoism is weak. At this time, the yin and yang double dragon diagram had been broken by the 5 elders of the Tao sect. Now only the golden light killing and killing array is holding on. In less than 5 minutes, the 5 elders of the Taoist sect broke the yin and yang double dragon diagram. This shows that their strength is extraordinary. The 5 elders came to the head and looked at me with eyes full of viciousness and resentment. The anger in their eyes almost swallowed me up. I looked around and saw that most of the disciples in the entire Diamond Square were dead. Suddenly there was noisy and dull footsteps in my ears. Immediately afterwards, countless Taoist disciples poured into the square. I felt a chill in my heart. There are really many disciples in this sect. Now that you're all here, go to hell. Huashiu shouted to me, Brother Emperor. I looked back and saw Huashiu looking at me with a worried face. Brother Imperial, why don't you just leave? You are no match for them. I smiled at Huashiu and said, silly girl, they bully you like this. If I don't take revenge for you, what would I be doing as a brother, right? But there's nothing wrong with that. Grandpa Zhong on the side also woke up. He looked around, and after seeing the corpses around him, his expression did not change at all. He struggled to stand up, came to me, and said, Xiao Su, why are you here? I replied, I'm here to save you. Grandpa Zhong did not speak, but looked at the head of the Taoist sect and said coldly, Sun Suchao, let Lu Su go, come to me if you have anything. The Taoist leader raised a sneer on his lips and said, today, you and he will both die here. He Lu Su killed my Taoist disciple, and Lu Linlong also has an sworn feud with our Taoist sect. It just so happens that today we will settle old and new scores together. And you, Zhong Zhengling, I have to say, you are really tenacious. We took out 3 souls and 7 souls, and you are still not dead. Hearing these words, I was stunned on the spot and looked at Grandpa Zhong. He was very haggard, his eyes were blurred, and there was no trace of blood on his face. He was a little reluctant to even stand where he was. I felt sour in my heart. It has been all this time, but Grandpa Zhong is still protecting me like this. Today, no matter what, I will take Grandpa Zhong and Huashiu out. I protected Grandpa Zhong behind me and said, Grandpa Zhong, leave this matter to me. Grandpa Zhong was about to stop talking. When he saw how determined I was, he could only nod. I took a deep breath, took out the evil suppressing seal, and threw it into the air. I muttered something in my mouth, and the 8-character mantra floated out from the bottom of the seal. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanbao. Chapter 1276. With the 8-character mantra protecting me, these evil spirits cannot harm me. When these evil ghosts get close to the 8-character mantra, they will be dispersed by the Buddha's light. However, a strange scene happened. The souls of those scattered ghosts were gathering quickly, and they returned to their original state in the blink of an eye. Seeing this scene, I frowned. Just now Sun Suchao said that these ghosts were raised by dragon veins. If the dragon veins are still there, then near Yinlong Mountain, even if these ghosts are scattered, their souls will condense again. It has to be said that Sun Suchao's strength and methods are truly incredible. How many people can raise ghosts with dragon veins? Looking at the entire yin and yang world, how many people can do it? It seems that if you want to deal with these evil spirits, you must cut off the dragon veins here. Cutting off the dragon veins will inevitably affect the surrounding feng shui pattern and even cause chain reactions. However, this dragon vein has been invaded by ghost energy, and even if it is not destroyed, it will be destroyed in the future. Thinking of this, I sat cross-legged and protected myself with the 8-character mantra. Sun Suchao and others could not do anything to me for the time being. I performed the dragon slaying technique and carefully felt the direction of the feng shui energy around me. I bit my finger, summoned a blank heavenly secret key, and then drew the shape of Yinlong Mountain in the talisman. After the drawing was completed, the heavenly secret barrier emitted dazzling golden light, and a shadow map of the direction of Yinlong Mountain appeared in front of me. After my operation, Sun Suchao and others were stunned on the spot. Lusu. What are you going to do? Sun Sucheo shouted at me. I gave him a cold look and said, slay the dragon's veins. As soon as these words came out, Sun Sucheo looked at me with shock in his eyes, and then said disdainfully, with your strength, how can you cut off the dragon's veins? I raised a sneer at the corner of my mouth and ignored him. It is true that my strength cannot cut off dragon veins, but I have the art of killing dragons. I can cut off all the dragon veins in the world and the world if I want. I pinched my sword finger, used it as a sword, and slashed towards the shadow of Yinlong Mountain. The mountain map was cut off by me, and at the same time, Yinlong Mountain in real life also changed. A dragon roar resounded throughout the world. The dragon energy disperses and returns to heaven and earth. Naturally, I will not waste the dragon energy of Yinlong Mountain. I stood up suddenly, feeling that my own dragon energy resonated with the dragon energy of Yinlong Mountain. The next moment, the dragon energy from Yinlong Mountain was gathering towards my body at a speed visible to the naked eye. Sun Sucheo looked shocked when he saw this scene. Lusu. Stop. Sun Tzu rushed towards me with a lunge. But he was isolated from the Buddha's light by the 8-character mantra. Seeing that the dragon energy of Yinlong Mountain was about to be absorbed by me, Sun Sucheo shouted angrily and shouted at me, Lusu. You forced me to do this. Sun Sucheo also sat cross-legged on the ground, muttering words, and Yinlong Mountain began to tremble violently, as if something big came out of Yinlong Mountain. I followed the sound and saw a huge black shadow rising into the sky from Yinlong Mountain. This is Yinlong. Unexpectedly, it is true that there is a demon dragon in Yinlong Mountain. Yinlong rushed towards me and stopped behind Sun Sucheo together with Wangui. Tens of thousands of ghosts and yin dragons gathered together, and there was a terrifying pressure in the air that made people breathless. I absorbed all the dragon energy from Yinlong Mountain, summoned the heart sword, and looked at Sun Sucheo coldly. At this moment, there was a loud noise behind me, and I felt a tightness in my chest and a sweet taste in my throat. Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanbao. Chapter 1277. Just as I was absorbing the dragon energy, the elders from the Taoist sect had already launched an attack on me. The 5 people worked together and almost broke up the Beza mantra. The Beza mantra is very powerful, but with my current strength, I cannot exert its full strength. Moreover, manipulating the Beza mantra is too costly for me. I can't hide forever, it's time to take the initiative. I took back the 8-character mantra, and the suffocating ghostly aura spread toward me in an instant. I held Jingxiao in my hand and stared at Sun Sucheo coldly. Sun Sucheo's eyes were spitting fire at this moment, and there was only anger between his brows. Lusu, you ruined my Taoism. I will make you pay the price today. I sneered and said, what a coincidence. I will make your Taoist family pay the price today. Sun Sucheo raised his right hand high, and then suddenly lowered it, and all the ghosts and demon dragons rushed towards me. That powerful pressure can crush almost everything. I have no fear on my face. Today, I must destroy the Dao sect. I cast 9 Eyes Heavenly Domain and disappeared instantly. When he appeared again, he was on top of the demon dragon's head. I want to kill this demonic dragon now, and then deal with those evil spirits. Sun Sucheo looked at this behavior as if he was seeking death. He said jokingly to me, Lusu, you don't think you can kill this demon dragon, do you? Kill the dragon? It's not like I haven't done this before. The surrounding ghosts attacked me in groups. Not only did I have to face the yin dragon, but I also had to deal with the sneak attacks of these ghosts. Therefore, I can only use pure lotus for defense. I looked up at the sky. The sky tonight was cloudless and densely packed with stars. It just gave me a chance. I squeezed the secrets with both hands and silently recited the secrets of Zai Wei Tianhuo in my heart. When the Zai Wei heavenly fire is cast under a sky filled with stars, its power will increase exponentially. As I need the secrets faster, the stars in the sky became brighter and brighter. Finally, the starlight from countless stars gathered in the palm of my hand, and a cluster of purple flames beat in the palm of my hand. Looking carefully, the flame turned out to be in the shape of a purple dragon, with the dragon's body burning with purple flames. Without any hesitation, I threw the Zaiwei heavenly fire in my hand. The moment the pocket-sized purple dragon was released, it instantly transformed into a huge blue dragon, the size of which was the same as the demon dragon beneath me. Wherever the purple sky fire passed, purple fire burned. Although there are many ghosts, the Zaiwei heavenly fire is more powerful. In just the blink of an eye, it has swallowed up most of the ghosts. 10,000 ghosts are temporarily restrained by Zaiwei heavenly fire, and now I need to deal with this demonic dragon under me wholeheartedly. The demonic dragon twisted its body crazily in the air, trying to throw me down. These demonic dragons have a common problem, that is, they are too huge and not very maneuverable. If they were of the same size, it would be troublesome to deal with them, but this makes it a lot easier for me. I had no place to stand, so I was thrown down by the demon dragon. The demon dragon turned around, opened its bloody mouth, and bit me. I originally wanted to hide, but a plan emerged in my mind. I chose not to struggle, but the demonic dragon's bloody mouth was already close to me. I used Nine Eyes' heavenly domain and instantly transferred into the demonic dragon's huge mouth. Taking this opportunity, I will hold the Jingxiao in my hand and silently recite the 9 levels of thunder technique, superimposing its power to the 6th level. This is not over yet. I activated the soul-stealing blood hand and attached the scarlet blood to the thunder technique. Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanbao. Chapter 1278. The reason why I do this is because I can stand firm in the dragon's mouth. Then use your methods to kill it. Blood-colored thunder and lightning lingered in the sky, and the power it exuded made people feel heart-stopping. I took a deep breath, raised my hand and struck out with a sword. Bloody thunder and lightning gathered at the tip of the Jingxiao sword, like precipitation about to burst the embankment. As I swung the sword, the powerful thunder and lightning also broke through the air. I just heard a crash, and the dragon's mouth was cut open by my sword. Blood poured down like rain. Dye my clothes red. I cast Nine Eyes' heavenly domain, escaped from the dragon's mouth, and stood on the dragon's body covered in blood. The smile on Sun Suchao's face suddenly stopped. He looked at me in disbelief and shouted in shock, how can you still be alive? In his opinion, if I was swallowed by the demon dragon, I would definitely die. But he didn't know it, but this was just a ploy of mine. I used the bloody 9-level thunder technique again, converging the power of thunder and lightning on the Jingxiao sword. I jumped up and slashed at the demon dragon's head with another sword. This time, he directly chopped off the huge dragon head. The demon dragon also fell rapidly like a kite with its string broken, and fell heavily to the ground. I performed the 6th level thunder technique twice in a row, which made me a little dizzy and my legs felt weak. This situation was caused not only by my use of the thunder technique, but also by my previous use of the 8-character mantra, the dragon slaying technique, and the purple heavenly fire. These 3 methods cost me too much. Sun Suchao's expression became a little ferocious. He never expected that with all his methods, he could not harm a single hair on my head. It even blocked the Taoist gate's 1,000-year creation. I pointed my sword at Sun Suchao and said, I want your entire Taoist sect to be buried with you today. Sun Suchao's eyes were full of viciousness and resentment, and his facial features were twisted together, looking extremely terrifying. He gritted his teeth and said to me, Lu Su, I won't kill you today. My surname is not Sun. As soon as he finished speaking, Sun Suchao rushed towards me at a very fast speed. I raised my sword to deal with it, but Sun Suchao directly passed me and came to the side of the dragon corpse. He dove into the belly of the dragon corpse. This operation left me a little confused. After a while, Sun Sucheo broke open the dragon's belly and climbed out covered in blood. He also held a golden bead in his hand. When I saw this bead, I secretly cried out. This is the demon dragon core. He wants to eat the demon dragon core to increase his spiritual power. I wanted to stop him, but it was too late. He swallowed the demonic dragon core directly into his belly. The next moment, a powerful aura spread from Sun Sucheo's body. Black scales grew on the surface of his skin, and his eyes were scarlet, full of cruelty. He grinned at me, and then rushed towards the Taoist elders. Before the 5 Taoist elders could react, their necks were bitten off by Sun Sucheo, and they died instantly. Not only that, Sun Sucheo also pulled out the souls of the 5 elders and swallowed them directly into his belly. My pupils trembled slightly. This Sun Sucheo is really crazy. Even his direct fellow disciples can kill him. Jajaja. Sun Sucheo smiled sinisterly at me and said, Lu Su, it was you who forced me to massacre my Taoist disciples and destroy my Taoist sect's foundation. Today, even if I die, I will use you as my support. As soon as he finished speaking, Sun Sucheo rushed towards me. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanbao. Chapter 1279. Sun Sucheo exuded a strong black energy, and the momentum he exuded was like a big mountain pressing hard on my shoulders, making me breathless. 2/3 of all ghosts have been wiped out by Ziwei Heavenly Fire. The remaining ghosts were still struggling in the Ziwei Heavenly Fire. Sun Sucheo came to me in the blink of an eye. He raised his hand and struck me with the palm. A destructive aura came from his palm. Moreover, he was extremely fast and I couldn't dodge. In a hurry, I could only block him. My palms touched each other, and a powerful force blew me away. My throat felt fishy and sweet, and a mouthful of blood spurted out. I fell heavily against the wall, secretly surprised. After Sun Sucheo ate the demon dragon core, his strength turned out to be so terrifying that I couldn't even catch his palm. Sun Sucheo walked towards me step by step, the rage in his eyes almost swallowing me up. I struggled to stand up and looked at Sun Sucheo coldly. Sun Sucheo said, "This is the gap between you and me, a gap that you can never bridge in your life." I sneered, "Really? I will unlock the seals of the 5 meridians, and my limit is 4. If only the 4 meridians of dragon energy were used, Sun Sucheo should be able to be killed. However, instead of wasting a lot of effort, it is better to unlock the meridians to the 5th level and kill them with absolute strength." When I untied the 5th meridian, the dragon energy in my body poured out like a river bursting its banks. The rich dragon energy burst out from my body and shot straight into the sky. I have never felt so powerful. However, the strong dragon energy is also burning my body. I must fight quickly. If I drag it on, I may be seriously injured. After Sun Sucheo felt the change in my aura, his expression instantly became extremely serious. He asked in shock, "What did you do?" I looked at him coldly and did not answer his question. I picked up the 9-level thunder technique and superimposed its power to the 7th level. However, the 7th level is not my limit, I can even superimpose the power of thunder technique again. Try to superimpose the 9th level thunder technique to the 8th level. Thunder and lightning as thick as a bucket spread from around me. At the same time, the cloudless night sky was now covered with dark clouds. Thick black clouds filled the night sky. Thunder rolled among the dark clouds, and thunder exploded in the world like a bell. Ring. Those who listen to it will feel ringing in their ears. 8th level thunder technique. What on earth did you kid do? How could your strength improve so much in a short period of time? Su Tianxuan's 9-level thunder technique can be used to the 8th or even 9th level. Having unlocked the 5 meridians, my strength has matched Su Tianxian, or even surpassed her. However, this increase in strength is only temporary. If it weren't for the help of the dragon vein in my body, I might have narrowly escaped death this time. I raised the sky in my hand, and the thunder and lightning billowing in the dark clouds gathered towards the sky where I was. I said, "You will pay for what you have done." As soon as the words fell, I suddenly dropped one thing. Thunder and lightning gathered in the sky and fell at an extremely fast speed. In an instant, lightning filled the entire world. Sun Sucheo was instantly swallowed up by the thunder. The powerful shockwave of thunder and lightning directly swallowed up those lingering ghosts, instantly turning them into fly ash, and their souls were scattered. Even the surrounding buildings collapsed instantly. Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanbao. Chapter 1280. The lightning dissipated and the surroundings fell into dead silence. I stared at Sun Sucheo, only to see that Sun Sucheo's body was charred and broken, and the scarlet blood was flowing on his charred skin, which was particularly eye-catching. He coughed lightly, and a mouthful of blood spurted out. Sun Sucheo opened his eyes, and those eyes were full of hatred. Lu Su, the 8th heavenly thunder wants my life, are you too naive? At this moment, Sun Sucheo is at the end of his strength, and I am not much better. The powerful dragon energy is burning every inch of my skin, and I'm afraid I won't be able to hold on much longer. I cast 9 Eyes Heavenly Domain and disappeared instantly. The moment I disappeared, Sun Sucheo's pupils trembled violently. I appeared in front of him instantly, and he tried to block me. There was a flash of cold light, and a scarlet blood stain appeared on Sun Sucheo's neck. Seal the throat with one sword. Sun Sucheo looked at me with shock in his eyes, and muttered with difficulty, "No. Impossible." I said coldly, "Nothing is impossible." I withdrew my Jingxiao, and Sun Sucheo fell to the ground with a bang, lifeless in an instant. I quickly sealed the 5 meridians, and the feeling of being burned by the fire disappeared without a trace. My limbs felt weak, I was dizzy, and a trace of blood spilled from the corner of my mouth, and I fell to the ground with a plop. I looked around, and everywhere I looked, there were corpses everywhere and rivers of blood. Hundreds of disciples in the entire Taoist sect were all killed by me, and those fierce ghosts were also wiped out in the 8th level of thunder. Huaxiu quickly came to my side. The rope that bound her body had been untied. It should have been done by Grandpa Zhong. "Brother Royal!" Huaxiu shouted worriedly at me. I forced a smile and said to her, "I'm fine." Huaxiu hugged me and sobbed softly. I reached out my hand, patted her back gently and said, don't cry, I'm fine." At this moment, noisy footsteps came from behind, and I felt a chill in my heart. Could it be that there were other enemies? I looked back and saw Princess Longji, Zhang Xiai, Xiangyi and others rushing over. When they saw everything around them, they were stunned on the spot, with expressions of disbelief on their faces. Xiangyi came to me and asked in shock, "Did you kill all these people?" I nodded. Xiangyi took a breath, stretched out his hand and slapped me on the shoulder. "Good boy, I was worried that something would happen to you. Now it seems I was overthinking it." Yu Sun Tao and others gathered around and asked me how I was doing. I shook my head and replied, "I'm fine." Princess Longji snorted softly and complained, "How can it be okay? The meridians that were just healed before are now damaged again. Let me see what you do next." I suddenly thought of Grandpa Zhong. "Where's Grandpa Zhong?" I quickly asked Huaxiu. Huaxiu helped me up and walked towards the main hall. After walking a few steps, I saw Grandpa Zhong leaning on the wall, his head lowered, not knowing whether he was dead or alive. Xiangyi quickly came to Grandpa Zhong to check on Grandpa Zhong's safety. However, When his hand touched Grandpa Zhong's body, he was stunned on the spot. Master Xiang. How is Grandpa Zhong doing? Xiang Yi turned around, his eyes full of sadness. He opened his mouth but said nothing. Seeing him like this, I knew everything. Grandpa Zhong left quietly.